Alright everyone, the world economy appears to be teetering on the brink of something that we don't really want to see, which is a major downturn, and we millennials have been through several of them. You've had the dot-com bubble burst, you've had the Great Recession with the housing crisis and the bank bailouts and so forth, the lockdown inspired economic downturn, and then suffering through several years of Bidenomics with an inflationary economy, etc., etc. I am an eternal optimist. When you've watched my channel, for however long you've watched it, you know that I tend to take the optimistic, the white-pilled approach to things. I am warning you, though, that all of the economic indicators that I see, and in pre-trading everything is very sharply down. We're talking about a significant loss in U.S. markets. Nikkei just posted its worst day since '87 the other day on Friday, and in pre-trading for today on Monday, everything is way down. It's looking bad. Please prepare for this. It's about time that you, again, as I always explain to people, learn a new skill, drop a vice, something that costs money, generally speaking, maybe smoke or weed or something like that, and improve yourself in some measurable way, and also get other people around you to do the same. We can build a stronger society, one that's more permanently steeled against this sort of market movement, if we just work harder. Sometimes you can't really work harder. You're already pulling double shift at Wendy's or something like that. I sympathize, and I've been in that boat before. But if you have the means, now is probably the time to evaluate your investments. You know, Warren Buffett just sold off a shit ton of stuff, for example, and he tends to be kind of at the forefront of economic news. You know, it's almost insider trading at some points, you know, just saying. The markets are not looking good right now. Dow is down, Standard & Poor, NASDAQ, the Asian markets, the contagion spread to Taiwan and Korea, for example. This could be the harbinger of quite a large loss of wealth, actually, within the market system that the world uses. It could be a big one. So we're talking potentially on Great Recession scale. Well, how many years did that drag on? Was that a fun time? No, I don't think so. It practically killed off my town. The mall's gone for a reason. You know, nobody was going to show up and go to the fucking mall once it was half empty. Nobody could pay the fee to have a stall in the mall, so to speak. You know, it was down to one restaurant at the end there in the food court. Used to have his, what was it, Sbarro's or something like that. Can't remember the name of it. It's dead now. The mall is no longer exists, effectively. I don't know what they're using it for. Good 10 to 15% of all the houses in Rutland during that crisis were in foreclosure. They were up for foreclosure. People lost their jobs. I was trying to get a job at the time. I'm a starving college student, you know, I'm a dropout of college in the middle of the Great Recession. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I've got to earn money. I've got to do something for a living. Yeah, good luck competing with that dual master's student for a position flipping hamburgers. There was a time, I heard this from a friend. There was a time somebody applied to work as a greeter at Walmart. He had a fucking PhD. and that was not the only case. I don't want that to happen again. Now, if we had sane economics, so if we hyper-deregulated the economy, got government out of it as much as possible, and stopped with the centralized speculation, we would have less of these events. The reason we've had so many economic crises in the last few decades is because of government, not because of the absence of it. But every time it happens, people clamor for the government to save them, and really they're harming themselves in the process. They should be telling the government, you caused this and fuck off. And I'm worried that that's going to happen again. We seem to be on the edge of a Great Recession sort of period. Now, my hope is that one of two things is true. Number one, it's a fluke. Okay, the markets just get pumped and then they go back up, and you know, you keep playing the music on the deck as the ship slowly loads up with water, but at least it's still afloat, right? You kick the can down the road. I mean, this means that the inevitable collapse, which is inevitable, is larger in the end, but you know, you're hoping it doesn't happen today. The other possibility is that it's not a fluke, it's a foreshock. Well, then it buys you a little bit of time. You know, you have a foreshock and then things seem to return to normal, and then later on, you know, you get fucked in the ass. What I'm hoping is that the economy can hold out long enough for Donald Trump to be back in office, really. Because I think that's the only thing at this point that saves us. It gives us a soft landing for the whole economy. Not just for inflation, but for the entire economy. I think that if Kamala Harris is elected, we will suffer through a significant recession. World markets will tumble, and people will get a lot of buyer's remorse, and then people like me will say, well, we fucking warned you. I think that's what will happen, even if Trump is reelected. Even with a return to a deregulatory, lower tax, more sane economic policy, I don't know that we can really avoid the incoming economic crisis. We can stave it off, we can lessen its impact, and people will still blame him even if he's done a good job in doing both of those things. It would be better, but would it be good? No, it's not going to be good. We're going to have an economic crisis inevitably within our lifetimes again, generally. You know, unless you're on your deathbed right now, unfortunately, you'll probably have to live through another one. The hope is that you create as few of them as possible, that they're as diminutive as possible, and so you're like, okay, it's a little bit of a downturn. Okay, unemployment ticked up by 0.5 or something. Yes, several million people lost their jobs, but it could have been worse. It could have ticked up by 7 points. Okay, that's a little bit better now, isn't it? Ultimately, if you get government out of the economy, you end up with a better economy. And this is the universal law of capitalism, which works for the average person. Does it work for everyone? No. Is it perfect? Fuck no. But it's better than all of the other alternatives. It works better than any other system that's ever been incepted by mankind for economic purposes. We're on the brink. That's my worry. And again, this is not a black pill channel. I don't unjustly tell people, hey, I think something's wrong here. Well, sometimes it is. Well, we've got to tell the truth. Just because it's an eternal white pill channel, I'm telling people, you know, empower yourself and, you know, don't worry, in the end, we're mostly going to make it. You've got to be honest when you see warning signs of something major, just like before the lockdown period. I knew that there were going to be shortages of goods. And I told people, look, things are going to be dicey here for a little while. Get a 2-week supply of your toilet paper. Actually, I forgot to mention the toilet paper. Everything else I managed to nail. Hey, get some canned goods. Make sure to get a can opener. That was sort of the moniker of the channel there for a few weeks. And I was correct. What I'm telling you right now is that all of the indicators are there of an economic downturn. Now, how severe that is, when it fully kicks in, we can't guess. Neither can the economists, by the way. They'll say like with Krugman, I mean, no one takes it seriously anymore. It's like Trump's going to collapse the economy. Biden's going to lead to a boom time. Yeah, he was wrong about the internet too. You know, 3 strikes and you're out, Krugman. That's just the way that it works. We need to take political action to try to get sane government back in. We need to do everything we can to defeat Kamala Harris, for example. And I would strongly suggest that people look at your portfolio if you are invested in anything. Consider your options. I'm not going to give you any financial advice for legal reasons, but consider your options. Again, if you don't have a garden but you got land, you might want to begin preparing it now. And if you do have a garden, you may want to put in a couple of extra beds. That's all I'm saying, because if the economy gets fully wonky, trust me, you'll thank me in the end. That's about all. Peace out.